Super crowded museum. Don't know what to do. FRU Corsair. Wildcat. It's a Hellcat. This one's got a pretty great story. It was built late in the war and shipped to Pearl Harbour, 1945. So it doesn't take up too much space when they fold the wings. Grumman's F6, F5 Hellcat. Simple, rugged, and deadly. The U.S. Navy's Hellcat dominated the skies over the Pacific during World War II. The Hellcat was called the aluminum tank by its pilots because it could absorb unbelievable punishment and still bring a pilot back to his carrier. Flyers told stories that Hellcats were mostly holes where the airplane used to be. The F6F was designed to outperform the Mitsubishi A6M0. By the end of fighting, the Hellcat had destroyed over 5,000 Japanese aircraft in the air. The Hellcat's large wings accommodated the slow takeoff and landing speeds on an aircraft carrier. To compensate for the plane's size, crewmen could fold the plane's wings for storage. In total, Grumman produced 12,275 F6Fs during World War II. This rare aircraft was built as a night fighter, but never flown in combat. After the war, it got assigned to an aerial target squadron, and it was used for aerial gunnery practice. It was made an unmanned drone. They built this thing to fly on its own, and I think that was done in Mojave, California. It was used for 5 years for aerial target practice, and it survived. In about 1965, it went to its first private owner, and it's had a succession of private owners since. I believe in 1990, it was purchased by a fella from Britain, and he had the airplane flown to Britain via Iceland. Paul Allen bought this plane in 2000 and brought it back here, and the mechanics at the Flying Heritage and Combat Armor Museum rebuilt it to flying status, and it flies to today. Actually, the last time it flew was in 2019, but they will take this thing outside a couple times a year and start it and run the engine. Because this aircraft never saw combat and it never was fully derelict and never got put anywhere, it is actually mostly original. It has not had a, like what they call a rebuilding restoration. It's been restored, but it hasn't been reskinned, so to speak. What they call a construction restoration. Like a few other airplanes around this museum have had, like that Stuka down in the corner there. Very, very popular Pratt & Whitney engine. See the badge on the front bottom of them there? I'll zoom in on it. The Pratt & Whitney badge right there. Pretty great. See a lot of detail in this engine looking at the front of it there. Big ring going around the hub is all the spark plug leads come down from the magnetos. These engines get their air fuel mixture from the back of the engine where the supercharger is. And if I go way back on this guy, you can see that the propeller is 13 feet 1 inch in diameter. It is huge. Wings are folded. Boy, she's only really about 3 feet away from the Corsair next to her because they both got their wings folded. Zoom back on the Corsair. And here's the Hellcat. Suspiciously missing from this museum is a Bearcat. I should have asked that other docent if I could walk around behind it, if he'd let me. Tail hooks down. An interesting look at the Corsair with the fabric under the wings there on the outer sections. Hard to see right now on this airplane, but all the flight control surfaces are fabric, except the inboard flaps, the part of the flaps that are mounted on the fixed portion of the wing. There's a chunk of flap down there and it's metal, but the rest of the flaps, there's another section outboard of the folding wing, and the ailerons are fabric. So that's the white piece back there, it's fabric covered. And if you could see the tail, the vertical stabilizer and the horizontal stabilizer are made of metal, but the flight control surfaces on it, the rudder and the elevators, are made of fabric. .650 caliber machine guns in the wings. .650 cals on her. Gorgeous. The story of this airplane. This rare aircraft was built as a night fighter, but it never flew in combat. After the war, it was modified to be an unmanned drone for anti-aircraft target practice, but it was saved from destruction when it was used for training. It was one of the last Hellcats to leave the Navy's inventory in 1961. Whoa. The fighter was displayed in several museums and other private collections. It appeared at Oshkosh and other air shows in the 70s. It was on hand for Grumman's 50th anniversary in the 1980s, and it flew across the Atlantic Ocean via Iceland in the 1990s. The rare Hellcat was acquired by the Flying Heritage and Combat Armory Museum in December of 2000. Wow, she's been around the block. And next to it, of course, is the world-famous F4U Corsair. And this one, they painted inside the wings, which I haven't seen it like that before, but looks like they're doing some maintenance on a big tool crib up here. It's really neat to see these airplanes with the wings folded, and that flap is actually split. Most of it's on the other part, and all the mechanism that does that sort of still operates. It's really cool stuff. Really, really cool stuff.
I don't know who bought that, the straddle launcher,